We're going to look at the shapes that you had to find the area of. These were the ones that were the composite figures. So you had rectangles and triangles put together, and you had to break them apart and find the area of those parts. So we're going to go over just a couple of those problems that you did. So for most of them, you had to take them and you had to find where you could break them apart. So this one, if I look at it, I can easily see where I can make it into a rectangle and a triangle. And then I do remember my formulas. And if you don't remember these, it's really important that you write them down at this point. So I know the area of a rectangle is going to be the base times the height. And I know that the area of a triangle is going to be half of a rectangle. So I know I have to do my base times my height. And then I can divide that by 2 or multiply 1/2, whichever you prefer. So I have 2 different pieces here that I'm going to look at. I'm going to start by looking at my rectangle. And I see that my base of my rectangle is 9 feet. And I see that my height is 6.5. So if I take that and I do my 9 times 6.5, I get 58.5. And that is the area of the rectangle part of my shape. And I'm not done yet because I still have this triangle down here at the bottom. So I'm going to look at my formula and I need my base. Well, my base here, okay, is the same as the base for my rectangle because they are connected. So I know that my base is 9. And I have to multiply that by the height of my rectangle. And you'll see it doesn't actually tell me the height. So I have to use the information in the picture to find that out. I know that the entire figure is 12 feet tall. I know that from the beginning to right here, it's 6.5 feet. So I have to find what's left. So in order to take something away, to find what's left, I have to subtract. And when I do 12 minus 6.5, I find that the height is actually going to be 5.5. And then I'm going to take all that and divide it by 2. So if I do my 9 times 5.5 and divide that by 2, I find that the area of my rectangle, or excuse me, of my triangle, is then going to be 24.75. In order to find out the total area, though, I need to take those and put those 2 together. So if I add 58.5 and 24.75, I find that my total is going to be 83.25. I have to add those together to get the total area of the entire shape. This was another shape that had a rectangle and a triangle. And I can easily see where I can make it into those 2 shapes right here. And again, I'm going to start with my rectangle. And I see that my base is 14. And my height is 8. And I know all I have to do to find the area of a rectangle is to do my base times my height, which I see is 112. I still have to find the area of the triangle, which is over here. And I have to start by finding my base. And you'll see that it doesn't actually give me my base here. However, what I do see is that the entire bottom of my shape is 21.5. And up till this point, okay, is 14. So I can see that the base is just the remainder there. So I just have to take that away. So I know that 21.5 minus 14 is going to give me 7.5. And now I can just use my formula. So my base is 7.5. My height right here is 8. And I'm going to take all of that and divide it by 2. So 7.5 times 8 divided by 2 gives me 30. So this part is 112, this part is 30, and if I put those 2 together and I add them, I get 104. 42 for my total area. So anytime you see these shapes, it's best to break them into pieces, find the different shapes that you do know how to find the area for, quadrilaterals, especially when we're talking about parallelograms or rectangles or squares, and then you always have your formula for triangles as well.